Hello and welcome to the Financial Survival Center, 21 ways to get rich in today's markets. And today is June 11th, 2012. So while a lot of these recommendations apply exactly at this point in time, many of them are general in idea and you can go ahead and apply them to different points in the future. So as corny as it sounds, there's always somebody making money in the markets. And generally it's in what I would call the alternative stock market rather than just the general broad-based market. And this list of 21 ways to get rich in today's market is going to refer generally to alternative areas. Some areas you may not have heard of with different techniques that are a little bit more high-end than some of the things that we normally learn, but I am encouraging people to learn how to do them, and I offer instruction on my site. And we live in a world of a lot of specialists, but this is broad-based thinking where you can go into many different markets: commodities, stocks in general, energy sectors, currency trading. So specialists are great in a certain area and in a certain market, but generalists can perform well in a variety of different markets. And some of the most powerful and wealthiest investors of all time, and that are currently alive, I might add, are generalists. To give you an idea of who we're talking about here, examples of really broadly skilled traders who would do this kind of trading we're talking about. Jim Rogers, one of my favorites. He made George Soros most of his money, and he is an alternative investor. He can do commodities, he can do currencies, he can get involved in bonds, broad stock market, minor stock markets, small companies, large companies. He's phenomenal, sees decades into the future. George Soros can do the same thing. Michael Steinhardt made fortunes in currency trading. Max Kaiser, though he's not necessarily a hedge fund trader, he knows all aspects of it. And Paul Tudor Jones, of course, is a legend. He trades anything and everything. So that's what I'm encouraging my readers and the people that I educate, is to learn how to trade a variety of different markets with all kinds of different skills. You'll find it's not that hard, especially when you do it in the basic fashion. You can get more advanced, it'll become more challenging, but it is certainly a useful tool to have to make money in any kind of a market. So that's what we're aiming at. We're looking at a broad set of skills. Now, let's get right to it. The 21 ways to profit in today's market. Number one is learn how to sell short. That is how you make money in a market that's falling. And different markets require different trading vehicles. Some that are rising, you can just go ahead and buy the stock and watch it go up and you're fine. But a lot of markets will nosedive, and that's what happens, in fact, the majority of the time in the stock market. So you need to know how to handle that. My newsletter covers that in depth. It's one of my favorite techniques. I've made money faster short selling rather than going long. The other thing is buy about 20 small mining companies right about now. Now, there are thousands of mining companies, so you have to do some research, and I offer some advice, but so do a lot of others. And you can do it without paying money, or you can pay for some newsletters I recommend. But buy about 20 small mining companies, and a few of them are going to be massive winners on the order of 10x or something like that, or at least 3 or 4x. So it's a great way to make money. You buy now, you're buying low. In 6 months or a year, or not even, you're going to be making a significant amount of money, or you can just trade in and out of them, as I often have. Next one is biotech stocks. Biotech stocks make more money faster than just about any version of stocks because of the exciting potential and the broad application, and everybody and their brother uses the medicines and goes directly into the healthcare system. And they've been on a big rise. Shorting bonds, a bit more difficult to do, but bonds are a definite high point. Shorting the dollar. The dollar has risen recently, but it's on a short death watch. So you have to pick currencies to sell the dollar to. I recommend some of those. Go long on options on gold. You can use ETFs to do this. Gold has not really fallen very far, showing tremendous strength. So go long gold, and within a couple of months or 6 or 8 months, I think you'll be banking big time. Go long on silver. Same thing. Silver took more of a bath, but nonetheless, it hasn't really fallen below 26 or 25, though it could slightly. It looks like it's ripe to go for a moonshot at some point in the future. When I say moonshot, 3x, 4x, or more. ETFs are great for trading, but owning silver in outright is the best. Then you can do leverage foreign currency trades, a bit more advanced, but basically when you know that the dollar, or you expect the dollar to go short, to take a nosedive, you can go long on options for foreign currency. And invest in niobium. Haven't heard much of it yet, but I can just tell you that there aren't very many plays out there. Quantum Minerals is one of the companies. I am not invested, but I will. Very cheap. You can buy into niobium, and I think you're going to be banking big time. Number 10, buy long-dated options on oil. Oil is taking a bit of a hit now, but there is inevitably going to be some more fireworks in the Middle East, and there's going to be a big spike in the oil price. So you can buy oil options if you want, or you can do the ETFs like BNQ or BOIL for natural gas and others. Short commodities in general. I really think, and I'm a big commodities player, I'm a former commodities broker, I think commodities through the ETFs or the Rogers Commodities Index are a bit of a short right now because China's going to report in with underperforming economics. High yielding energy plays, I list some of these on my website. Go long the VIX. Big time increase in VIX, which is the volatility index, as money printing occurs. It's already happened in Europe with the Spain bailout. Buy Singapore dollars. Singapore will benefit no matter what. It's got a positive trade balance. Even with China going down, Singapore is a very significant stronghold. Same can be said of Norwegian krona. Brazilian reais is a counterplay. The reais, or real as they call it, is a counterplay. But those currencies will over time beat the dollar. Short Apple. Now, Apple, I recommended shorting Apple a while ago when it was at its peak. It went down, cashed out. Now I'm getting back in for short. I think Apple is too high, too far, too fast, and will go down. Shorting Google. Google has upset too many of its customers. Even though it's still a great customer, still a great company, people are scrambling to find other ways of operating without Google. The same thing applies at any time where you find a super hot stock with a lot of publicity, but the underlying earnings don't necessarily support it. Short any stock that has floated one standard deviation over its exponential moving average. All sounds a little bit complicated, but when you look at a chart, it's very easy to do. And it's a short-term play, but I'm telling you, I've traded, I've done very well in competitions with that alone. And as long as you have a stop, you can do very, very well and very, very quickly make some money on just that simple technique. As soon as you go profitable, get out. And I would often leverage that trade like 4 or 5 to 1 since I knew that it would be an effective trade. Number 17, short banks in general. I think banks, well, I know that banks in the United States are exposed to the European bonds significantly, and as some of them get cast aside, I think the U.S. banks will be in trouble. But in general, the banks are in a sorry state because they really haven't recognized their losses. So European banks are far worse off than the United States banks, but nonetheless, all banks in general are potential short. Short Monsanto. Monsanto has taken a major hit from its high point of somewhere in the neighborhood of 150, 160. Actually, I don't even think it got to 160. Now it's down at 83. I think Monsanto is farther to fall, primarily because it's commodities play essentially, and the commodities are going to get hit pretty hard. And not only that, Monsanto is being outed as producing products that are not really increasing the yield as they were promised. Not only that, but they're ruining the land, and there's a backlash. Everything going towards organic in a large sense, even though there is still a huge demand on food. Number 19. Oh boy, I got short Monsanto twice. Short anything with China in its name or on its books. Now, China has been basically falsely reporting everything. A lot of their growth, if you were to deduct inflation out, you would see that China is really blowing its own bubble in a big way based on currencies and things like that. So you could short China individually with stocks, or you can short the China ETF, such as the iShares. There's a Hong Kong ETF you can also short. I think it's a very strong thing to do. Go long defense contractors. Nobody's praying for war, but the fact of the matter is the drums are there, and we're in this game to play for profit. We didn't choose the rules, and the defense contractors have built-in inflation hedges and things along those lines. So their contracts are scaled with inflation. And then basically, so that's the list of 21 ways to get rich in today's markets. I think I only gave you 20. I didn't realize I double counted Monsanto. But there's no performance guarantee. This is not specific investment advice, but it's only general ideas from the Financial Survival Center. And sign up for the FSC newsletter. And we provide more ideas that go for about a 300% return on investment. And we do that, we structure that for about 18 months. That's about as far out 18 months for a trade, maybe 2 years, but usually a lot shorter. Some of them are days or things like that. Like in silver, when I shorted, I recommended it for days. And currency collapse is what we focus on as well because we know it's coming. So thank you so much for watching this video. I know I went through it quickly, but this article is on my website at financialsurvivalcenter.com. And we have a newsletter that's free, provides a lot of the guidance here, and it's 21 ways to get rich in today's markets.